Everybody, this is Dream, and today we have our FanDuel slate for NBA here. We have a 6-game slate tonight. A pretty good little slate. All the games are within an hour and a half too, which is nice, so that we're not gonna have to wait too late on injuries, hopefully. So, with that said, let's get into the injury report today. Before I get started, can you guys like and comment and subscribe? That really helps the channel. Thank you guys. So for that, let's get into the injuries. For the Pistons, Cunningham is questionable. For the Raptors, Van Vliet is questionable. Siakam and Achua are both out. For the Pacers, Duarte is out. For the 76ers, Harden is out. For the Hornets, Dennis Smith Jr. is questionable and Hayward is out. For the Heat, Hero is questionable. For the Rockets, Fernando and Tate are both out. For the Blazers, Nurkic is questionable. Sharp is questionable. Grant is probable and Winslow is probable. For the Mavs, Wood is probable. For the Celtics, Brogdon is questionable and Horford is questionable. For the Hawks, Okungwa is out. Sorry for butchering your name. Anyhow, let's get into the players I do like today. So we're going to start with a Melton for the 76ers. Now, Melton has been really solid. It looks like he might be questionable now. Well, that's great. So he might, if he does play, he's a decent play. He's been solid as a starter, but he didn't do great the last game because he didn't score enough points. But overall, he's been pretty decent as a starter for them with Harden out. And I expect him to be a good play, assuming that he does actually play. Jalen Green here for Houston is a really safe play today. He has been pretty consistent all season long. Now he had a little bit of streak in the middle there where he didn't have very many good games, but he plays a ton of minutes. He gets a lot of shots, and as long as he shoots the ball well, he should be able to pay off here. Then we're going to look at Tyrese Halliburton for Indiana. He has been extremely solid so far this season. He is the focal point of their offense, and he's been playing extremely well. I expect him to continue to play extremely well. Tyrese Maxey is definitely going to get a boost if Melton's out, but he's been playing really well. The last 2 games he wasn't as good, didn't shoot the ball very well, but I expect him to bounce back here and have a solid game. Then we're going to look at Nembhard for Indiana. Now we got to make sure he does play, but he's literally minimum priced here on FanDuel, and he has been a starting. If he does start, he should be a good player to play on this particular slate. Just make sure he is actually starting. Then Tyler Hero, who is questionable today, he's in a really good spot here if he does play. He hasn't played in a couple games, but when he does play, he typically gets over 40 fantasy points with injury situation there. I really do think he's in a great spot if he ends up playing. Then we're going to look at Gary Trent Jr. Now, he is somewhat conditioned on the fact that whether Van Vliet plays or not. He doesn't get as many shots when Van Vliet plays, but if he doesn't play, then he'll definitely have some upside here. Then we're going to look at Jaylen Brown, guy I really like today. He's a little bit underpriced for what he's been doing, but he's been pretty consistent this season in the 35 to 45 range. I expect that to continue here, and I expect his price point to rise as the season progresses. Then we're looking at Brandon Ingram for New Orleans. He's another guy that's been pretty consistent lately. He had one bad game against Portland last game, but overall I think he's going to bounce back here, and most of his games he's been really good, and I expect him to be really good against Houston, who doesn't have any answer for him. Scotty Barnes looks like a pretty interesting play. His price has come up though, so be aware of that. But without Siakam, he does take more shots and stuff. He does need to be more active on the rebounding and that aspect though to really pay off here. And then Oubre for Charlotte. He's one of the enigmas of the NBA. He's very inconsistent. He'll have 50-point games and then 20-point games. But overall, he has, fantasy points, that is. But overall, he's a solid play today, especially with Hayward continuing to be out. Then we look at Miles Turner. He might be one of my favorite plays on the slate. Now, he is a little bit more expensive here on DraftKings, or on FanDuel, but he's been paying off the last few games. Once he got his feet under him and getting a few more minutes, he's starting to get double-doubles each game. And if he can continue to do that, he'll be able to score easily above what he needs in this one. Now, I've listed Al Horford here, but I don't really expect him to play. He has been extremely good the last 5 or 6 games he's played in, and though I do think he's not going to play because it's a back-to-back, so we'll have to see. But overall, he's been a solid play at this price point, and I would expect that to continue if he does end up playing. Zion Williamson's another guy who's been extremely good when he's healthy. But sometimes in the middle of a game he may get hurt, and so he won't play for like 10 minutes at a time. So you have to be aware of that. But when he does play a full complement of game, he usually has he has 50 fantasy point upside. Then we're going to look at Clint Capella today against Philadelphia. Capella has been really good lately. He's starting to wrap up a ton of rebounds, and I expect that to continue here. His price point is still really good for what he's doing, and so I think he's a great play on the slate. Then we look at Singun for Houston. Now he's come up in price, but he's in a good spot here. I expect him to continue to play well, and he's got a nice matchup against New Orleans. Then we look at Joel Embiid. Obviously an expensive play, but a good play. He's been really good in the couple games he's played lately, but he may end up sitting out again, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. If he does play, he's a guy I do like because he does have smash potential. So with that said, I think this is a good slate, guys. If you have any comments or questions about it, feel free to leave them below. Otherwise, have a nice day.